this morning to look through some of those stories and some of the others occupying a mind. Jenny Critchlow from Claverden in Warwickshire, self-help expert, runs the Peace Gym. Jenny, good to speak to you this morning.
Good morning, Phil. How are you?
I'm very good, thanks very much, Jenny. But sad, because this is the last time we'll be doing this, because you're leaving.
Well, only for a week. A week. But yes, leaving and coming off all media. So
Right.
yeah, till next Friday.
Okay, because you're going to Derbyshire, where you're going to be living as a monk.
Well, yeah, living as a Zen monk, yes, for about 5 days, 5 nights. And so, yeah, quite I've done lots of things like this before, but this is the longest I've done. So it'll be, quite long days. It'd be challenging, I think, would be where I'd pitch that one.
And will that be a wrench to be away from your family for that time?
I know, absolutely. Well, there's no because there's no talking, no writing, obviously no media, no screens, no nothing. So no, I won't even speak to them.
Right.
But they might have a break. So they might like it.
Okay, so it might work for them as well. I think it's wonderful.
It might work, yeah.
Wonderful what you're doing. But the idea that I couldn't talk for 5 days, bearing in mind I do this every morning for a living, I find hugely restrictive there. What happens if you happen to sort of, utter something? Do you get told off, or does people just stare at you?
Yeah, beaten probably.
Don't say that.
Really what it is, no, I swear, I know the guy who runs it, I swear. I think it's really about taking away all the stuff that I would usually use to entertain myself or numb myself, as I bang on about all the time, or distract myself. And it allows me to look inside so I say that people live in we all live in a sort of like a hoarded house, the hoarder next door on TV.
Yeah.
We've all got all this stuff inside and we're never taught how to look at it and how to let it go. And so we're living in this mess with old newspapers on the floor and rats everywhere. And there's a point at which if we take all the stimulus away that we use to distract ourselves from this, we can start clearing some of that. And then I emerge, luckily for my family, a happier and more peaceful and definitely more compassionate person, because I'm not carrying around what I call my bitter bag from the past. Lots of it's gone.
Good
and that
stuff.
goes really easily when you're not distracted and when you're okay to feel stuff.
Yeah, good stuff. Let's pick a couple of the stories you've highlighted this morning, and one in The Guardian, which, of course, is trying to do its bit to get us to do the whole positive thinking thing, but it's not always possible to be like that.
No, it isn't. It's a great one. It's called "I'm All for Positive Thinking, but My Brave Face is Beginning to Slip." And it's an article written about, obviously, being 7 months down in lockdown, and how this woman was taught as a child that what you do in life is you stick a brave face on it, you smile, and everything else will follow. Everyone else thinks you're having a good time. She makes sure her Instagram's really positive. And inside, she's struggling, like loads of us. In fact, just very much like I was talking about going to live as a monk. So she's struggling, and what lockdown is doing for a lot of us is forcing us to look inside, because it's taking away so much of what we do to keep ourselves occupied. And so life breaks us open in that sense. And this is really useful because she can sit at some point and really realise that she's pretending it's all okay. And if we stop pretending and allow ourselves to look inside, we can end up feeling our way through to genuinely feeling better, like living less in the hoarded house.
Okay, and breaking out of that sort of environment in order to try and break, as you say, that sort of cycle, which gets you thinking the way that you do. I'm just looking at this story you've just picked out of the Mirror, which I'm absolutely staggered by. You thought Elizabeth Taylor, having married 8 times, is quite unique. This is a story of a woman who's married 10 times.
10 times. Can you imagine? I don't know whether I know that many people. This woman's married 10 times. She says, until she finds the one that can love me. So this is a woman who's trying to find true love by marrying everybody. And weirdly has got 10 people to agree. It's like, you're going to look at the past maybe and see what happens. But it is a great example of how us humans spend large portions of our life doing the same thing again and again, trying to get a different result. It's like how the diet industry got so wealthy.
And people will do that in relationships, won't they? And I've been guilty of that, I know. And the idea that my ever so wise 16-year-old daughter once said to me, "Dad, it's a bit like watching a movie again and again and expecting the ending to be different." And she was absolutely right. I thought, how are you so wise at 16 years of age?
Teenagers are all wise. just brilliant. Get her a job here. It is understanding that we have to break patterns. If we want a different result, we're going to have to do something differently. And this woman is trying to heal something inside of her by kidding herself that eventually a man will come around and sort it out for her.
Yeah, and actually it's her that needs to do the healing, and the happiness won't be found from another person, will it? It's got to be
never, not from outside of ourselves. Yeah, absolutely, without a doubt.
Jenny, I wish you the best of luck in your 5 days in Derbyshire. It's a great place to go and do it, I have to say. I mean, cycled through a lot of Derbyshire. It's a wonderful county. So best of luck there. No talking, no read. So what happens at meal times?
You eat in silence. Well, the weirdest thing is actually going to bed, because there's nothing to do. You just have to turn the light off and lie there, and that is quite a scary thing for people.
So you can't take a book, you don't read, because in theory your brain should be doing what? Just being conscious of where you are in the here and now, I guess, yeah?
Yeah, noticing. Just very simply, the key to a lot of our stuff is notice. Notice what is, as opposed to telling ourselves in our heads what is, which is normally lying.
That's good. Jenny, great to speak to you this morning, and good message for everybody. Jenny Critchlow from Claverdon, and the Peace Gym something that she runs, and best of luck with your life as a monk in the next week or so. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Phil. Cheers.
You're welcome. Have a good weekend. It's 7:45. It's BBC CWR. It's Friday morning. Bron Mills is well.